Citizens of all free governments claim a constitution in their free national name. Those who fail to recognize this national name are classed as undesirable, subject to names inferior and abusive with mistreatments. Citizens can't bestow on them in sequence. You sin when you violate the Constitution, clinging to names of slavery like Winfrey and Houston. That's why prophet was sent for us to repent and go back to the ways of minds back in the days, using the religion from the mental prison. Connect back to the Moorish movement was the mission. It's still the mission, but some are dissing. Rights for granted, privileges, the current position. If you think his principles are not for redemption, go to the government officials and mention. In a tone intelligent, they would render replies to test the sight in darkness, not with the both eyes. The wealth of all nations is gold and silver. Standards make the man, not the money they give you. Commerce without citizenship by name means you have no true wealth, is what I'm saying. Enforce the Constitution, help with the mission to get back to the constitutional full position. Divine water by the prophets for nations. Nations is plural because everyone needs saving. Divine water by the prophets for nations. Nations is plural because everyone needs saving. Divine water by the prophets for nations. Nations is plural because everyone needs saving. Divine water by the prophets for nations. Nations is plural because everyone needs saving. I am sheep, standing in front of Zion gates. Heaven's Gate Guardsmen. Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, repping for the one Oaken henchman out of squadron. Moodles on stage to the crowd, I'm a marksman. Crosshair, your pioneer, my dress shoes are Crocs, man. No square for shoes, rapper dressed like cowboys. In tight jeans like Aerosmith, my time's now, boy. Y'all been on the mic, some of y'all fell off the stages. You got the ancient threats, so you got me on your cases. Got me on the humble, but if you get it twisted, who will make you crash your car and blast you with spirits? No fear, none fear, none. Ritualistics make rapping dummies. Limber than some wet biscuits. Rise you like this quick. Your bank account doubles. For talking arms out and making you get in trouble. You don't have to believe it. I call it as I see it. Call me Simon. The more carrying the cross will fail Jesus. Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, repping for the one Oaken henchman out the squadron. Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, repping for the one Oaken henchman out the squadron. Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, repping for the IHF and UCLB squadron. Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, repping for the one Oaken, repping for the one Oaken. Handshake dead, man, we all grown up. Lousy doing the art, Seb won the Grey Cup. Demolition man, a married man, call it royalty. Vending at my lectures, showing their loyalty. Agents try to flop it and bump into Orishas. Give you their nightmares like deep sea creatures. Give you bad karma, cancel karmic credit. If I put your name on it, you wish I never said it. You wish I just said it. You plotted and you schemed. I saw you, visualizing the golden beam. Look through the stargate, a glimpse of the future. Make me see a judgment and tell the thugs not to shoot you. Medallions on string, thinking I'm a cheapskate. Fake rocks get locked, cut off like Buddha's beefcake. Fake Nuwapian get slapped with Dark Circle 7 and branded with Noble True Ali as a lesson. Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, repping for the one Oaken henchman out the squadron. Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, repping for the one Oaken henchman out the squadron. Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, repping for the IHF and UCLB squadron. Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, repping for the one Oaken, repping for the one Oaken. I know the dirty Moors, yeah. I know what Dirty Moors did to True Ali. I'm saying I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I'm going at dirty rappers, lynching dirty Moors too. Hide literature that drew rope to warn you. They claim to make you Muslim and make you sovereign. With paperwork and filings and fiat they robbing. They don't care about these words, throw it out like garbage or throw it at you when you're active, not passive. When they want to talk about like off a trampoline mattress, treat them like a vamp or a teen actress. Get stamped with the brand like a mean savage. This Inquisition divine, all of the average. Millennium Renaissance, heroes in our classes. Fed up with the czar controlling fascists. Ask if they heard about Moors, they say no. But Masons, they obviously know. Down the handshakes and rituals with skull and bones. They even know about owls burning Bohemian Grove. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. Dirty Moors killed True. I read the FBI papers on loyal Moors, emergency fund rapers. Moorish literature and divine bylaw changes. Might as well say True Ali was born in a manger. Prophets put poison aside and his food smelled danger. Got me treating every Moor like a stranger. Grand Chief one king stumbling drunk in their feds. What was proclaimed for every meeting was loud read. Some Moors are so active, prophet can't be dead. Thanks Moorish teachers away, I can't be led. Actions speak, then I consider what's said. And what's said was study, then study yourself. Honest to the prophet over True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. Everybody wants to be just like True Ali, but nobody wants to care about True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did. I know what dirty Moors did to True Ali. I know what dirty Moors did.
We are live here at the City Hall where the Moors have returned. Sir, do you have anything to say about this matter?
Yeah. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Yep. Sir, what do you have to say?
I just want to put it on the record. I'm not lying.
Yeah, what he said.
Moors life matters.
More lives matter. It seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Shot in the back, running or choked out to death on the corners. Mistake to stays before his sidearm, says the coroner. To the yellow journalists that won awards for writing facts, for worldwide web press stories, always calling them black. Civil rights violated. Here comes C1-7 and CIA and FBI agent, brethren, fellas with what Big Brother once heard. Most Moors are nerds and study more than if I'm on the road, no biting curbs. No threats of nooses or fighting for survival. Making Moors martyrs won't happen, calling us Captain Rival. Inquisition is governors and secretaries of state. Got stateless on their tables like ribeye steak. With no care, blood dripping. They eat blacks rare. Foreigners wearing 6-point badges, pretending they're heirs to the vastness of state Maghrib al-Aqsa. Stainless blood flow past a horse's brow. Servants agua, demons thirst quench, stealing pioneers and organs. Psychiatry, death industry, to start selling black orphans and half-closed coffins. Cause legs are missing, killing stateless people, cancer won't even see remission. More lives matter, but it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter.
System, what system? Not gonna make myself no victim. Run down and kick them off, educate oneself and flip them. All of their titles or nationality strips them. Must give reality in order to really grip them in this third dimensional illusion. Organized chaos, confusion, stealing your attention. Mental intrusion, universal laws, declaration of the ancients. I self-law and master from the rooftops to the basements. Roof deep to the spaceship, ever since all creations. Celestial foundations, ocean floor to the ranges, to the mountain tip, to the cosmic infinite. Basically, we are way above the shit. In other words, get in tune with spirit. Take a breath and accept mental polarity, gender, rhythm, correspondence, vibration, cause and effect.
More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter.
More lives matter cause I sing it no sound of. It gets defected when rejected for your last off. Get my perspective on the rescue to replay. All the moves that on replay until they want to cast off. Bury them, on to the next one. Enough of them are gunning down. Dudes them a cast cross. Can't believe I'm talking that. Can't believe a Taj Cross. Trayvon, Michael Brown died for us to find cars. The afterlife, visitors and class brawl. Who they really want to see with the crown on high and the guards on free? I am free and you know business but your land or your country to seek your inalienable rights. The insatiable delight of knowing thyself and bringing all injustice to light. What the fight is your plight, make your sight for the bright. I'm the mic in the night, foresight for you to realize that, huh?
More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. Islam, Moors, what's good? We're here. Peace, Moor. Oh, you're muting yourself. Islam.
Islam, Moor.
What's good with you?
Yo, man. Moor. Prophet said, be careful. Some of your own wearing turbans and feathers.
Put you right back into slavery. Especially at this time right now. At this time right now, there should be no Moors out there playing any type of games with anybody. At this time right now, with what's going on right now, everywhere in the world, Black Lives Matter everywhere. It should be clear to people. But it's not clear. Why isn't it clear? Noble Drew Ali's program was right and exact. Noble Drew Ali's program was perfected. So why we still got issues today with our people? How come? Why we still have issues today? Because your own, especially those wearing turbans and fezzes, selling you out, keeping you confused about what is a Moor and who is a Moor and what qualifies and all this stuff to be a Moor and whatever. Especially right now, there is supposed to be absolutely no confusion caused by Moors. If they know about their nationality and their birthrights, there's no way that they should be causing confusion. But you know, this is why you got Canaanland Moors, Asir the Duke of Tears, RV Bay Publications. This is why you got Ali Mel Bay. This is why you have Moorish Directory. This is why you have these things, because people didn't do their job and still not doing their job today. Maintaining the position of not do their job. Now, we don't know who is paying people and all that type of stuff. But when 5 years ago, you're going on Instagram and talking about we're Moors and all that stuff, and then 2020, all of a sudden, you're talking crazy about Moors and you got Black's Law Dictionary now, so you could look up stuff and all that. You're trying to denounce the Moors? The hell out of here. That's for Raspy Rawls and all those other people who still right now, still never went out there, never killed a cracker yet, talking crazy, never defended their position, Like they talk how they're gonna defend something and all this type of stuff. All the Huey P. Newton gun club people, right? Playing games. Oh yeah, don't forget Rise of the Moors too. Some other Moors that are out here getting slack from Moors because they're being active and making all these Moor Science Temple people look like jackasses right now. Because the things that they were supposed to be doing since the 1930s to now, they have not done, which is why the people are so confused, which is why these people are getting murdered in the street, which is why 2020, they're still singing We Shall Overcome, and they got Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton on the stage. 2020. Still, you tell me something's not wrong with these people? And then, when we call you out on your BS, you're telling us about why you gotta talk like that to people, and you shouldn't talk like that to people because they don't know, and how come they don't know? No. Stop that BS. We're not playing any games with you people. South Korea just pulled down their Black Lives Matter sign. Why they pull that down for?
Who did?
South Korea. How come they're pulling down Black Lives Matter in South Korea? Because they don't buy that BS. Because they know it's BS. They know that it's BS. Anybody who's anybody knows that Black Lives Matter is BS, especially people who are out here near Canaanland. Because when Michael Brown and all them people were getting murdered and Black Lives Matter was doing their BS here, and then the gay, lesbian, whoever lady took over Black Lives Matter, and then Black Lives Matter was down at the Pride Parade where gay guys get to walk around with their dick out and all that type of stuff. Everybody was mad. Now you're saying Black Lives Matter again? The hell are you people talking about?
You gotta say that all over again.
The hell are you people talking about? What are you people talking about?
Because that was the co-founder down here doing that.
Yep.
That's their leader of the whole thing. These are your leaders. These are their leaders that's down there doing all of this. And I'm like, these are their leaders. This is the origin of the Black Lives Matter stuff. It's a bunch of gay stuff that's going on.
Yo, that's all that's going on right now with Black Lives Matter. That's all that's going on right now with Black Lives Matter. Trans Black Lives Matter. Trans Black Lives Matter. And you're out there. You're out there yelling. Since when this is a trans thing? What do you mean? What do you mean? Since when is a what happened? Oh yeah, they took over your stuff, and your dumbass is still playing around like you're black. And like Black Lives Matter. If Black Lives Matter, would black people be getting murdered in the street? If Black Lives Matter, would a black man who's not doing anything, minding his business, sleeping in his car, get bothered by highwaymen? Have no reason bothering him because he's just sleeping. He's not doing anything. He's not on the street driving erratic or nothing like that. He's admitting I'm drunk. He's admitting I had drinks and all that type of stuff. He even agreed to the breathalyzer. And you still gonna put this man in handcuffs and stuff like that? He lives down the street. But Black Lives Matter though. All right. Keep playing with Moors. Keep playing with Moors. We already told you people. We already told you that more lives matter. You know what? Might as well pull that one up again because people probably don't get it. Let's do that one again. Might as well. Because our people are asleep. They're so asleep. They're so asleep. The sorcerers did a good job.
They did a great job.
Round of applause for the sorcerers. The sorcerers get the wiserhood. The sorcerers get the wiserhood. They did a great job on our people. But remember, they only did a great job because they had ones who look like us working for them, causing this confusion. Right? But we're gonna do it one more time just to stress the point. More lives matter. It seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Shot in the back, running or choked out to death on the corners. Mistake to stage the fought inside him, says the coroner. To the yellow journalists that won awards for writing facts for World Wide Web press stories, always calling them black. Civil rights violated. Here comes C1-7 and CIA and FBI agent, brethren felons with what Big Brother once heard. Most Moors are nerds and study more than if I'm on the road, no biting curbs. Professor Mooses are fighting for survival. Making Moors models won't happen, calling us captain rival. Inquisitionists, governors, and secretaries of state got stateless on their tables like ribeye steak with no care, blood dripping. They eat blacks rare. Foreigners wearing 6-point badges, pretending they're heirs to the vastness of state medieval Axa. Stainless blood flow past a horse's brow, I serve its agua. Demons thirst quench, stealing pioneers and organs. Psychiatry, death industry, to start selling black orphans and half-closed coffins. Cause legs are missing, killing stateless people, cancer won't even see remission. More lives matter, but it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, because it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, because it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, because it seems like black lives don't matter.
System, what system? Not gonna make myself no victim. Run down and kick them up, educate oneself and flip them. All of the titles or nationality strips them. Must grip reality in order to really grip them in this third dimensional illusion. Organized chaos confusion, stealing your attention. Mental intrusion, universal laws, declaration of the ancients. I self-law and master from the rooftops to the basements. Root deep to the spaceship, ever since all creations. Celestial foundations, ocean floor to the ranges. To the mountain tip, to the cosmic infinite. Basically, we are way above the shit. In other words, get in tune with spirit. Take a breath and accept. Mental polarity, gender rhythm, correspondence, vibration, cause and effect.
More lives matter, but it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, because it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, because it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, because it seems like black lives don't matter.
More lives matter cause I sing it, no sound off. It gets defected when rejected, looking nasty off. Get my perspective on the I keep to replay. All the rules that on replay until they want to cast off. Worry them, on to the next one. Enough of them are gunning down. Dudes them a cast cross. Can't believe I told you that. Can't believe I Taj Cross. Trayvon, Michael Brown, died for us to find cars. The afterlife visited the class brawl. Who they really want to see with the crown on high and the guards on free? I am free and you know business but your land or your country to seek your inalienable rights. The insatiable delight of knowing thyself and bringing all injustice to light. With the fight, it's your plight, make your sight for the bright. I'm the mic in the night. More sights for you to realize that, huh?
More lives matter, because it seems like black lives don't matter.
Yeah, more lives matter because black lives don't matter. And people still playing black games. Okay, cool. No problem. No problem. Because we've already put it out there. And this one, 2016, told these people, black lives don't matter. Still playing Black Lives Matter today? All right. You know, keep getting slaughtered in the street. That's up to you. It's your choice. Because you can't say that you weren't told. Can't say that you weren't told. So one of the Moors today, we have a little group chat on WhatsApp, and one of the Moors posted this in the group chat today. You got to watch the thing, Brother Yusuf?
I don't got the screen thing. I don't got it up right now. I can get it up though.
Yeah, no, I mean what I sent you.
The video?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay, yeah, I didn't even get to watch it, so I'm
yeah,
fresh
man.
meat. I'm fresh meat.
That's what got me going crazy right now.
I'm fresh meat. So I don't know if you want to, before we start, if you have anything to throw out there before we start.
Yeah, that whole thing had me going crazy.
All right, let's go crazy with Brother Yusuf then. So this is
lying on Taj, lying on the Prophet. Watching you see it, it's horrible.
This is Doggy Diamonds TV with his interview, I guess, with Taharka Bey on what is a Moor, who are the Moors. And we're saying this is for educational purposes and stuff like that. Make sure you go subscribe to Doggy Diamonds TV. And make sure you subscribe to Doggy Diamonds TV because there is some info that comes across this platform.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Grand Sheik, but let's add on to this real quick because my thing is they're in it right now. You know, they're interviewing a Moor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like everything that's going on. You know, he's trying to get a Moor on the platform to try to explain why nationality would be the order of the day because that's all they've been hearing. Everybody complaining, you know, all that's happening to you because you don't obey your nationality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you said, this man's platform, he got a couple of subscribers, you know what I mean? So it's not like nobody's not watching him. People are watching him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm saying that because if the Moor comes up here and he stands on his square, it shouldn't be any problems. But if the Moor doesn't stand on the square, it can cause confusion and devastation. It can almost continue to ruin the nation. So let's just see which way this Moor goes with this.
Yeah.
To try to uplift fallen humanity, because that's what we're supposed to be about.
That's the job, yeah. That's the job. Uplift our people. Because we know the state that they're in as Moors. How do we know? Because find me, even if we use More Lives Matter, find me some Moors. Find me a list of Moors they murdered in the street on camera and police got off and all that stuff. Find it. Find me a Chinese that they did that to. Find me a Turk. Find me a German. Find me anybody who has a nationality that gets this nigger treatment like our people get. You're not gonna wait too long. Because we already know you're not gonna find shit. You're not gonna find anything.
I had that argument with a brother before, him and his Moabites. When I don't even know why it was an argument. I was telling them they can do their own research and show me where a highwayman, or who they call a cop, police officer, has killed a so-called black person and is doing a life sentence over it right now. Never going to see daylight. And they're arguing. You don't think there's a cop that's doing a life? I'm like, no. Like, why do y'all keep saying that? Like, it's not. One, I'm talking about an hour and a half of deep research they were doing in front of me and could not find one highwayman ever in history that is doing a life sentence for killing a so-called black person. Never. It just didn't happen. It's just not happening. And I told him, I said, and if he's in there right now, as we speak, serving a life sentence, that's just for right now. He'll be going home.
Yeah. If he is serving a life sentence, he's not serving it with Tank and whoever and getting raped by Baba and stuff like that with his cellmate. He's not getting those ones. They're gonna get special treatment. They're gonna get the good jail. They're gonna get the jail where they got somebody to come make up their bed and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's the jail they're gonna get.
They're going home.
Right? Or they're going home. And like the Moor said, hour and a half researching, trying to find an hour and a half. Like imagine you're online for an hour and a half trying to find evidence of, somebody fell off a ladder. Right. But the thing most important, somebody being held responsible for murdering somebody in the street. Nothing. Mm-hmm. You're not finding anything. Why?
You're not gonna find it.
How come you're not finding anything? Because they're playing.
They're not getting the electric chair. They're not none of that.
None of that.
None of that. The on death row, you're not going to see no highwayman killing a so-called black person, and now he on death row. Never in the history of Compton. Never.
But then go check. But then go check how many Negroes are on death row for nothing.
For nothing.
I bet you find some. One of the Moors in the chat said they like whips and chains. Rihanna has a song called S&M.
Yep.
They want their S&M though.
Yep.
They want their S&M though. But they don't want their nationality. Right?
They kill themselves every time, man.
So let's see what's good. Peace again to Doggy Diamonds for putting this out there so we can have a reason to do class today.
Right. Yep. Remember,
and stop try to
our
eliminate.
job is to
Go ahead, Moore.
uplift fallen humanity. Yeah, because I know you're about to show the video.
Yeah.
I just want more to keep in mind, our 5 principles. Our job is to uplift fallen humanity. We're trying to get our people out of this rut, you know what I mean, from what they're being in. And there's a Moor on here right now who's supposed to be standing on this. Let's see which way he goes.
The Moorish Science Temple of America. Is there different splinter groups of this? Because I'm confused of what a Moor is this day. So when I first got introduced to Moor,
all right, let's just stop right there. Right? Do not let anybody in the Moorish Science Temple of America try to convince you that the Moorish Science Temple of America makes Moors. The Moorish Science Temple of America does not make anybody a Moor. The Moorish Science Temple of America does not make anybody a Moor. So, again, his question, is there the splinter groups in the Moors? Because, when it comes to Moors, what are Moors? Those things don't go together like that. Moor Science Temple and history of the Moors doesn't go together in that way. Why? Because we know there was Moors here before Noble Drew Ali. So what are they talking about? Noble Drew Ali makes Moors, or you have to go to the temple to be a Moor. Which temple did Drew Ali go to be a Moor, if that's the case? Because he can't go to his own temple and be a Moor in there. He would have had to gone to a temple, become a Moor, and then start talking about he's a Moor.
They don't do this for any other people neither. Any other people. So-called Chinese people don't have to go to a Buddha temple or a Tibetan temple to become Chinese.
Right.
But all of a sudden, y'all can access, well, what's these splinters between all the Moors, and y'all don't do that with the Chinese? Right. What's these splinters with all the Chinese and the Buddha? Buddha temple and y'all don't do that. Y'all don't ask that question because y'all know that they are just all so-called Chinese. They don't even play that game. But when it comes to us, right back to playing games again.
Now let's just deal with this thing with the splinter groups quick fast. The splinter groups of the Moor Science Temple, right, which is separate from Moors. Don't forget, you can go to khalifamedia.com to get the book by Cujo L called Noble Drew Ali Plenipotentiaries and the Negro Black Colored Addiction. Page 1, off the top, page 1. King Alfred Plan, Executive Order 11490, or codename Rex 84, is a contingency military plan and executive order of ridding the United States of the world and the world, finally, of the minority, all Black, Negro, colored, Hispanics, and poor whites. Right. King Alfred Plan is a contingency military plan, an executive order of ridding the United States of America and the world, finally, of the minority, all black, Negro, colored, Hispanics, and poor whites. This document was first drafted in the 1960s, then revitalized in the 1970s by the hand of President Jimmy Carter, and finally revised by President Ronald Reagan in 1984. This executive order was declassified several years ago, which means it is no longer effective. This means that there is an alternate plan or revised plan in place now. The executive order of Rex 84 called for the following: the use of hand-picked African Hispanic leaders, especially religious leadership, the use of military bases as prisons, military groups, Caucasian, to be deputized to assist the police force, the use of military forces to assist in gathering minority people, all black leaders being detained, all black Senate and government officials being detained, all black military personnel to be disarmed and detained, all sympathizers to be detained. Now, to speak on that, remember, there was that, whoever she was, that was black Asiatic lady, and they were dragging her out the court to jail.
Yeah.
Dragging her. Her heels are on the ground, and they're dragging her out.
Yeah.
Combined memo. Department of Justice Preliminary Memo, Federal Bureau of Investigation and Central Intelligence Agency. There are 12 minority organizations, and all are familiar to the 22 million. Dossiers have been compiled on the leaders and the organizations and can be studied in Washington. The material contained in many of the dossiers and our threat to reveal that material has considerably held in check some of the leaders. Leaders who do not have such usable material in their dossiers have been approached to take government posts, mostly as ambassadors and primarily in African countries. The promise of these positions also has materially contributed to a temporary slowdown of minority activities. However, we do expect these slowdowns to be of long duration because there are always new and dissident elements joining these organizations with the potential power to replace the old leaders. All organizations and their leaders are under constant 24-hour surveillance. The organizations are the Black Muslims, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, Congress of Racial Equality, Uru Movement, Group on Advanced Leadership, Freedom Now Party, United Black Nationalists of America, the New Pan-African Movement, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the National Urban League, the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, and the Committee on Racial and Religious Progress. Note, at the appropriate time to be designated by the president, the leaders of some of these organizations are to be detained only when it is clear that they cannot prevent the emergency. Working with local public officials during the first critical hours, all other leaders are to be detained at once. Compiled lists of minority leaders have been readied at the National Data Computer Center. It is necessary to use the minority leaders designated by the president in much the same manner in which we use minority members who are agents with central and federal. And we cannot, until there is no alternative, reveal King Alfred in all its aspects. Minority members of Congress will be unseated at once. This move is not without precedent in American history. So you talk about the splinter groups of Moor science or whatever. Everything that's on this list is a splinter group of the Moor Science Temple. Because go back and check, before 1930, the only organizations out here that had any type of credible influence was NAACP, who's on the list, UNIA, who's on the list, the Pan-African Movement, right? Moor Science Temple, who's not on the list, interestingly enough, when you can go to the FBI and see that they got 3,000 pages of infiltrators' notes on the Moor Science Temple of America. How come Moor Science Temple is not on the list? Oh, because you're thinking that, oh, yeah, black Muslims, that means Moors too, because no, that doesn't mean Moors. They would have said, they have in the FBI papers that Moors call themselves Muslims, not Muslims. So don't be confused with the and whatever other groups that they have under investigation. Right? Moor Science Temple of America, Moorish Divine National Movement, was making extreme headway. Oh yeah, another group that they didn't mention was the Moorish Zionist Jews. How come they're not on the list? How come they're not on the King Alfred plan sellout list of organizations that are under 24-hour surveillance because they've been set up by the people who are watching them for 24 hours? After Noble Drew Ali transitioned in 1929, because he was assassinated for the work that he was doing, is where all the splinter stuff came from that you see today, that you're looking at today, and you're like, oh wow, I'm gonna go join the whatever. I'm gonna go to the, I'm gonna go, and then you would never even think in your mind about Moor Science Temple or anything even to do with Moors. There would be absolutely no thought in your mind. I know, because there was no thought in my mind, and I was part of all these organizations and studying all these organizations for years. Not even even in researching, in every school of thought that we were in, there was no mention. How come? Because we're not Negro, black, colored. All we do is research black stuff, African stuff, all these fake stuff that people created to get you off of the fact that, yeah, there was this organization called Moor Science Temple of America in the 1920s. And that thing was so big that the stock market crashed because of that. The stock market crashed in 1929 because of what the Moors were doing in Chicago in the 1920s. They tell you stock market crashed in 33. They tell you 33 so that they could hide what happened in 29. Now, Noble Drew Ali went to the Pan American Conference in 1928. And when he went to the Pan American Conference, he was given the mandate for the land that the Europeans were using from Morocco to be in this land. As soon as he got that mandate back, they became nothing. That's why the stock market crashed. Why? Because just go check the records. Turks were joining the Moor Science Temple of America. Chinese were joining the Moor Science Temple of America. Japanese were joining the Moor Science Temple of America. Anybody who was coming over here from anywhere else, they were going and joining the temple. Matter of fact, Europeans were even here. Europeans were even here in the movement, assisting. That's why, again, in the literature, it talks about Noble Drew Ali transitioning and a European going to Kirkman Bay and asking him, what happened to that guy? Oh yeah, he's no longer with us, and Europeans crying for Noble Drew Ali. And then you have traders around you today saying the name Noble Drew Ali, and they don't honor him. Their duty is to make sure that the people are confused about this and to have them lost in the sauce. Now, remember, we're talking about the splinter groups of the Moor Science Temple. We're talking about the splinter groups of the Moor Science Temple, right? We're talking about what happened after Noble Drew Ali. What happened after, right? Sweet Daddy Grace, Prophet Cherry, Father Divine, Fard Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad. All these things happened after Noble Drew Ali. All these things were created after Noble Drew Ali. Why you think in the past few years you see Nation of Islam put Noble Drew Ali's face up finally? Finally, they're talking about Moors. You go back to old stuff and you're watching Donahue with Farrakhan on there, and he's telling people about wearing the fez like the Shriners and all this. Why are you talking about Shriners? How come you're not talking about the real? Oh, because those were the people who, in 1930, when they were founded, Fard Muhammad just changed the sign and denationalized thousands of people.
Yeah. Was it 30,000 or something crazy like that?
20,000, 30,000.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Right? How is it? Because remember, Fard Muhammad was a member of the Moor Science Temple of America to the point where he had his own temple in Detroit. So he wasn't a nobody in Moor Science Temple. Fard Muhammad, who Nation of Islam holds as prophet and Allah and man, and everybody has the WF on their blazer collar and all that stuff. Right? How come they're giving him so much honors when he was a grand sheikh of a Moor Science Temple? But they don't mention that. So think about it. With all these, think about how the confusion could spread. Right? Think about how all the confusion could spread. It said in the literature that there were 25 temples throughout and 15 subordinate temples. Right? Just throughout the whole United States of America, specifically North America. Now, what if every one of those changed the sign and called themselves something different? What happens? All those Moor Science Temple of Americas, which again, Moor Science Temple of America was huge. They had manufacturing companies and community centers and all that in the 1920s. All based off this concept or idea of trust. And the fact that the heirs had regained their lost estate because they stopped classifying themselves as Negro, black, colored. But the Moor Science Temple of America was created to teach our people how to be better. The Moor Science Temple wasn't created to make you a Moor. It was to teach you the culture. It was to teach you the heritage. It was to teach you the truth about your nationality and your birthrights. Once they took down all those signs, everybody became Negro, black, colored, and everything else. And once they became Negro, black, colored, this stuff was over. Everything went right back into the hands of the colonists, which is why they were able to do the New Deal in 33. Which is why Canada doesn't have a constitution. It's an act. There's no such thing as a constitution of Canada. There's nothing. It's an act. Why? Because Canada's part of the United States, and all of it is the same colonial body whose duty was to come here and by any means necessary destabilize this Moorish paradigm in America that was it was busting at the seams at 1929. Stuff was pretty much over. Everything was done in 1929. The Moorish Jews already got their invite to go to take part in the coronation of Haile Selassie and Empress Menen. They got personal invite. How come them? How come they got personal invite? And no other Jewish whatever got a personal invite. People were going because they respected him and whatever. The Moorish Jews of Harlem got personal invite. What's he know about them that he gave them personal invite? Not just to, not to just attend, not personal invite to attend the coronation, personal invite to be in it. Personal invite to be in it. Could it be because they call themselves black and they call themselves Moors? Maybe, I don't know, because I ain't seen nobody else get invited. I ain't seen no other Hebrew Israelite whatever get invited. So obviously something's going on that people don't know what's going on. And don't forget that all the people of the Moorish Zionist temple, of the Zionist Jews, had a leader, and that leader was assisting Noble Drew Ali. And he was also assisting UNIA. And when they deported Garvey, his last letter to these people who called themselves Garveyites or whatever was the Negro's not going to be happy until he gets his nationality. What's he telling you? He talked all that nation stuff for years, never mentioned nationality one time. All of a sudden he's deported. He gets a visit by Noble Drew Ali before he's deported while he was in Atlanta prison. And then he's writing a letter to the Garveyites to tell them the Negro, which is he was the head of the biggest Negro association, right? He's telling all the Negro's not going to be happy until he gets his nationality. Page 268, Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. Why don't the people know? And why don't they proclaim their nationality? Because obviously he was, he was telling you something. It's not more. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Moore.
On the Negro is not going to be happy until he finds his nationality. It reminded me again of what the prophet saying, you Moors are just plain rich.
Yeah.
Because when you look up the definition of the word rich, it brings you into wealth. And when you look up wealth, it says happiness. So with Marcus Garvey saying we're not going to be happy. We're not going to have our riches. We're not going to have our wealth. We're not going to have none of that until we proclaim our nationality.
Nothing.
Just by saying the word happy, he brings it. He covered everything. Because without happiness, our nationality is our happiness. Obviously, without our nationality, look what's been going on. This is happiness. Negro, black, and colored is happiness.
Doesn't look like happiness if they're out there chanting Black Lives Matter and all that stuff.
See what I'm saying?
Clearly, there's not happiness. Clearly, there's no happiness there because everybody looks mad, even though they might be twerking and dancing and you know what I mean.
Speaking of that, I showed the Moabite your post of the twerking, right? I don't argue with my Moabite. I showed her it. She said, that's fake. And I was like, I don't argue with her, whatever. This morning, she was like, man, that is so sad. You know that picture you showed me?
She went to watch.
I saw the video.
She went to watch the video.
She was mad. She was like, the girl got an interview on social media and everything. I was like, oh, goodness.
Yep.
Oh, goodness. She was so mad. I said, yeah. I said, it's all a joke. I told her, look up the origins of Black Lives Matter. Who are their leaders? Look up their leaders. It's three. When you Google them, it's three ladies, and all three of them were part of the LGBTQ whatever crew.
Yeah.
All three of them. The first one, Alicia, she's married to a European woman boy. He's or whatever you want to call it, is a transgender thingy. Was a girl and became a European man. These are their Black Lives Matter leaders. I was like, this is the leader, Alicia. She's married to a transgender European. This is the leader of their Black Lives Matter.
That's their leader.
Yo, that's their leader. And yo, the whole thing is bugging me out. Because even though she's Lady Alicia, one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter, you know, we go do all the research. You know, I want to know who your parents are. So she was raised by even though she looked like a Moabitess, her stepfather was a European Jew who raised her. And she considers herself now a Jew because of her stepfather. So obviously, she's taking the steps of her stepfather, who was a European Jew, Alicia, who was the leader of the Black Lives Matter thing, who married the European transgender thingy. These are their leaders. I was like, yo, this whole thing is horrible. This is all horrible. I'm like, that's why it's a joke. That's why they're taking down this Black Lives Matter signs and everything. Like, nah, you guys are still a joke.
Still a joke.
Still a joke.
Still a joke. And then nobody's gonna talk about again. Nobody's gonna talk about BBS Morocco contacting the Moors to have conversation about, hey, we were watching this march and stuff or whatever, and we seen people flying Moroccan flags and stuff and wearing fezzes or whatever. What is that? How come BBS Morocco wants to know what it is, but people who's standing next to the Moor with the flag, they don't got no questions. They're black. The world's not taking our people serious. And with regard to somebody asked a question with regard to the Europeans and Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali called them out. Foreign sympathizers. I want you to help me too. Don't think that this is some stuff where you don't have any obligations to this, because the reason why we're Negro black colored is because of colonialism. The reason we're Negro black colored and going through what we're going through is because of colonialism. But because we're the dummies, they don't get all the blame. But Noble Drew Ali called them out. So these Europeans weren't part of the temple. Think about this. These Europeans weren't part of the temple. Just like the European that was not part of our temple. He was just coming to the meetings because he had some case where they're trying to steal his house. He came, he put down his little dues. He's not no member. Came, put his dues down or whatever like that. Right? Came to some classes, and then one day he just waited till everybody left class. And he broke everything down to us with his case and what's going on and how they're trying to steal his house and they're trying to get paid after they steal the house, and he doesn't know what to do. What do I do? Could I use the Moorish card and could I get the papers of the Moors so that I can... you got any contracts with those people? Yeah. Okay. You have any future contracts with them? Yeah, I'm supposed to go sign tomorrow. All right. Let your signature be all rights reserved. And don't move off that. Forget about Moorish, whatever and whatever. You're a European. It's not about you being a Moor if you're European to do whatever. It's about you standing on the law. And the law is, if you got rights, you reserve them. So he goes, reserved his rights or whatever. And maybe 4 or 5 years pass. After European got that, got his info, took off. 4 or 5 years pass. One day, European walks into the temple. Islam's to everybody, you know what I mean? Because he came regular. He wasn't like, you know what I mean, one class. He came to a bunch of classes. Like he didn't, you know what I mean? He came, sat, took his notes and all that. European. He wasn't a member though. 4 or 5 years later, European shows up, finds out that the temple was moving and dropped $5,000. European. And then since he dropped the $5,000, I haven't seen that European. So when we bring up Europeans and Moor Science Temple, that's how they were repping it. How come our people aren't repping it like that when it's theirs? A European is going to rep it like that? Shit, I'm back this European before I back any of these FBI agents, these operatives whose duty it is to keep our people Negro, black, colored. Their duty, their purpose is to keep our people Negro, black, colored forever. Once we're Negro, black, colored, African and all that stuff, then the European has supreme jurisdiction. Because you can't have a defense as Negro, black, colored. You're cannon fodder. You're shells. You're not bullets. You're the excrement. Remember, all of this is because we're talking about the splintering of Moor Science Temple. Keep in mind, we didn't even watch anything yet. 28 seconds, 40 minutes. We talk about 40 minutes, about 28 seconds of this. Nobody even said anything yet, and you think that there's no problem? There's a big problem. And the problem is our own. I'm worried about some European. Like we said, just the other day, we got pulled down by some Europeans. Told the European, hey, what's your nationality? I know you're not white. Yeah, true. But your partner, he's from India. But he's the same complexion as my brother right there, who you're going to say that he's black. So how come you're going to call my brother black, but your partner, who's the same complexion of my brother, you're not going to call him black? Because he's not black. Oh, okay. But he's a traitor. Oh no, I'm just joking. What do you mean he's a traitor? Yeah, he's a traitor because he's not working with the Indian police. He's working with the European. But bothering some people who got the same fez like the Indian guy has. His great uncle in the picture has the fez. The black and white picture with the fez on that everybody in the family has a picture in their wallet of the great uncle, whoever, who had the fez and the temple and the whatever in India. So Europeans know what's up. That's why we can't get mad at the European. We're not mad that they're doing what they're doing. We can't be mad because they're doing it because our people are calling themselves dog shit and want to get mad why they get treated like shit. And we're trying to tell you nationality is the order of the day. And then you're going on the Doggy Diamonds and then a Moor's talking and he already convinced you don't want nothing to do with Moor Science Temple because he thought that he was slick, that he's going to go on there and dress the part of a Negro to appeal to the Negroes. When every Moor knows if you're going on national whatever, fez is up, turban up, something.
I'm glad you caught that.
Ain't no baseball hat if we're talking about we're going to be, you know what I mean? News calls and says, hey, could you guys do an interview? We show up there with a baseball hat talking about we're Moors or whatever. Because
you look like the Black Lives Matter crew.
If you're Black Lives Matter, but you're a Moor, you got Moroccan flag, Nobi Drew Ali and all that stuff, and then you're not even looking like a Moor, you're looking like Negro guy? People are supposed to take this serious? Why would they take it serious? You're not a real Moor. Like when I see Moors, they got feathers on and stuff like that. You think people don't know who the Moors are? You really thought that you're gonna wear a baseball hat appeal to the Negroes? Because the baseball hat says some nobles on it, so that means Moorish? No. Fez is up. Turban. Fez and turban. Something.
Especially at this time.
Especially with somebody who got 100,000 plus subscribers and all that stuff. You didn't put your fez on? But when you do your little stuff talking BS about Taj and talking BS about RV Bay Publications and talking BS about, you got fez on, you got the tie, you got the bow tie, you got the shirt
button with the name on it, ribbon, all of that.
Yeah. You want to know why we're losing? You can't figure out why we're losing as a people. You can't figure it out yet. Your own. It's always your own. I will never, trust me, I would never disrespect some European because they killed a Negro. No, sorry. Why you Negro? That's just like the guy with the oh man, they did this black man and they beat him up and all that stuff and he was bloody and then they arrested him and then they beat him at the jail and all this stuff like that. How come? Hey, highwayman, how come you stopped this guy? Well, he had a tail light out. Oh, whose fault is that? The Europeans' fault? You just gave them jurisdiction by having your tail light out. Why isn't your tail light working? And then when they stop you for the tail light, now you want to try to do some sovereignty, whatever, and stand on some square or something. What are you talking about? You're in violation. You violated by having your tail light out. In you violating, you got your ass beat. Or you got murdered on the street or whatever. Yes, and we know, for you, sympathizers and stuff like that. Oh yeah, you're not supposed to kill people and stuff like that. That's wrong. The policeman shouldn't have did that. But this is a pattern now. So you can't stop it with the BS. You can't tell me you're playing some passive position still. They've been lynching people since the 1920s. How come they didn't lynch Noble Drew Ali? How come some KKK people didn't? Remember, this is 1920s, 1913 to 1929. Not one Klansman said, yo, let's kidnap Noble Drew Ali and put him on a tree. How come they didn't do that? They just didn't feel like it. They weren't as racist back then. They weren't as racist back then. Right. And again, going back to the whole splintering of why is it that there's no temple where you're at? How do I get a temple where I'm at? No, ask yourself why there's nothing there. Why is there nothing there? If Noble Drew Ali said uplift all humanity, if Noble Drew Ali said, if you want a charter, come to me and I'll give it to you, then how come there's not a temple everywhere? How come there's not a temple everywhere? If Noble Drew Ali himself told Moors, if you want a charter for the temple, come to me, you can get a charter. It's not an issue. You could get a charter. Your own, that's why. Your own wearing turbans and fezzes who rather go in the elite guy's bank account and leave with 10 bags than redeem the people and take nothing. All these black leaders, and we have the example of C.M. Bay, who again was Moor Science Temple, and Charles Mosey Bay founded Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs and the Clock of Destiny books. And in the Moorish paradigm, when we talk about the sellout after Noble Drew Ali, it is said that Charles Mosley Bay is one of the few people who didn't go in the vault and take what they want. Like the vault of the elite. Imagine Bill Gates right now. Go on the thing. This is an announcement to all the black guys. If you want to redeem your people, come check me. I'll give you 20 million. But you have to keep saying black and all that stuff. You can't teach them. You can't, whatever. How much people you think? How much people around today that are in the conscious whatever you think would take the 20 million to keep pushing this BS on our people that they're pushing? How many you think? Think about it. Bill Gates comes up right now. All this Black Lives Matter stuff, you know what I mean? Okay, you know what? All the groups.
They doing it for a like and a subscribe. You ain't even gotta pay them. Just check like. Just check like and subscribe. They'll do whatever sell out.
Think they wouldn't take the 20 million and leave your ass still eating roach cereal with milk? Yeah, they could have their 50 cars or whatever, but you're eating roach cereal and you're talking about, yeah, Black Lives Matter. You tripping. Tripping. Somebody's playing you. And I'm pretty sure whoever's playing you looks just like you.
Yo, every time.
Playing you just like they've been playing you. It's not they just started playing you today. You know what I mean? We already know these people have been playing our people. But our people have this this love for sellouts and traders and turncoats. They love those people. Like they love them. People who are snitches, woo. Tekashi's gonna go platinum. Do you know a snitch, a rap snitch guy is gonna go platinum? You know everybody's gonna be on his album? And then nobody's gonna say, oh, all you guys are sellouts. Y'all gonna be jamming.
Oh yeah. That's what our people do.
Y'all gonna be jamming. When Tekashi and Jay-Z drop the song, you guys are gonna be freaking jamming, talking about whose verse was the best.
Yeah, talking about, oh yeah, I know what he did, but it's a good song. Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
It's still a good song. They'll say that. They'll say it. Yeah, I know what he did was crazy, but it's still a good song. Yeah.
And again, with regard to the splintering, I'm just going through the chat right now. How do we get a charter? Right, where the hell is this thing at? How do you get a charter?
After you answer that, can you go? Who's immediately ill? Can you go in on that after too?
Yeah. So, with regard to the charter, you're supposed to go to Grand Major Temple, Temple number 1, Chicago, and you're supposed to go to them. Hey, I want a charter, and they're supposed to give you a charter. Of course, you're gonna have to go through, the little tests or the whatever. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to go through the chamber, prove yourself worthy, and all that type of stuff. But it's not no big deal. Nobody was giving out charters. It's not that serious. So, in this day and time, like for example, Brother Jamal's let us know, right? And not just him, other people, that he went to Temple number 1 just to see, you know what I mean? To see if this is real. And there was so much jumping through hoops. If he was black guy, he would have said, forget Moor Science Temple or whatever. Which is why they have Rise of the Moors, because people were being greedy with what Noble Drew Ali brought. And if you go to Rise of the Moors, you can apply to them so you can have a Rise of the Moors where you're at. That's how a temple's supposed to be. But then that's why temple people are mad at him, because he's doing what they should have been doing. So we tell people, you don't want a charter. We got a charter because we connected with some righteous Moors. If we connected with anybody else, we wouldn't have a charter to do what we're doing. Right? So you don't want a charter. You want to get together with people of like minds where you're at and start studying. That's what you want to do. You don't need a charter. You don't need, you know what I mean? Everybody has a living room, a basement, a library that they could get or whatever. Again, just look at what Jamal's in them, right? Look at Rise of the Moors. Start with 2 people in a library, just recording themselves reading the law dictionary. Now they're talking about you can get Rise of the Moor is where you're at by filling out this paper, and we'll help you get organized where you're at. That's how accelerated they went, just from 2 people studying. So what if everybody took that position? Exact same thing, right? Remember, we did that exact same thing. We just did it as Moor Science Temple, but Moor Science Temple is not the all and be all. That's another issue, that they want you to think that the Moor Science Temple is this is what it's about. No, it's not. Moor Science Temple just came about in 1928. Noble Drew Ali been around since 1913. What do you mean Moor Science Temple means something? There was stuff going on without there being a Moor Science Temple. So if you go get a charter, they're going to want you to go through the attic chamber. Attic chamber might cost you something, because when we went through the attic chamber, we didn't pay any finance or nothing like that. So I don't know what people are talking about when they tell me about, yeah, well, I tried to go join the Moor Science Temple and get a charter, and they wanted $250. Why do they want $250 for? It's a charter. You ever look up charter? You should probably look up charter. See exactly what it is that you're getting yourself into. That these people know what you're getting yourself into. But because the people don't study, because the people are caught up, just like Brother Yusuf said, liking and hearting and all this BS, they don't even know what's going on. Wolves being pulled over their eyes as they like, and they still miss it. Right. Well, check. Put it like this, E. Bondell. It ain't about going to court. Being a Moor and all that stuff has nothing to do with going to court. Forget court. Forget judges and police and whatever. That's not what being a Moor is. That has nothing to do with being a Moor. Has nothing to do with living as a Moor or anything. Because if you're a Moor, those people wouldn't even talk to you. If we say that we're Moors tomorrow as a people, highwaymen can't talk to you. They can't come up to you and even attempt to say, give me a license, which creates half these problems that people have, because, they were just standing there and a highwayman just showed up and wants something from them. How come he doesn't want something from that guy over there or that guy over there? How come it's always people who look like us that call themselves black that they want something? And then they're going to show you some interaction with police and somebody else, and then they're going to say, oh, those people have a whatever privilege because look how they're treated. They're not treated like the black man. The black man suffers the most and all that. Yeah, because those people have a nationality, and they know if they mess with them, they might have to go to world court. They know if they mess with them, they're going to get sued by a nation. They know if they mess with them, they might, get a bomb under their car because of nationality. But our people, those guys over there have shields and masks and boots and Kevlar and tanks and whatever, and we're over here in underwear twerking. Lying on the street in underwear, doing splits, twerking. And if they shot her in her face with a rubber bullet, or they would have said racism. Why are you doing that? You shouldn't be doing that. She didn't do anything. Exactly. That's why she get it in the face.
They'll justify her twerking.
Oh,
it doesn't. It's a free country. You should be able to do whatever you want without being. All
right. Who brainwashes single mothers and take their pennies to support their lifestyle? Do you know it was a single mother who, in 2010, we went to stand up for in court on the news and all that stuff. We ain't take no finance from her. We ain't taking no single mother's pennies. Who you're talking about is these dirty Moors. You're not talking about us, E. Bondell. You're not talking about us. When you talk about Moors doing dumb stuff and Moors doing stuff that's criminal and why they stealing houses and all this stuff, you're not talking about us. You're talking about some other group of Moors that you're so confused you don't even know who's who. Which again, going back again to why there's this splinter stuff of the Moor Science Temple. Because everybody thought they were the man and didn't want to give Noble Drawley his honors. Everybody thought they were the man. Fard thought he was the man. Elijah thought he was the man. Sherry thought he was the man. Ben Amin thought he was the man. Malachi York thought he was the man. Martin thought he was the man. Everybody thought they were the man. Until they realized that we own you. What do you mean liberate your people? That's why Martin told them, I led my people into a burning building, and they're still singing We Shall Overcome today, 2020, while the building's burning down with them in it. And then they're going to say racism again. And want to know why nobody's helping them. Go ahead, Moore.
Because my thing is too, now when they say, or because she's not the only one, but when they say Moors are selling paperwork, like, oh, you Moors are selling paperwork or whatnot. My thing is this. I'm not justifying anything, but my whole thing is, okay, if the Moors do good things, Moors do bad things, right? So if a Moor sold some paperwork, and you're saying the Moors sold the paperwork, are you saying, so now because if Moors did do it, which I'm saying the Moors on this platform wouldn't do it, but if Moors did do it, does that mean you're black? That your nationality is African American? Like, because I show videos where so-called Chinese sold out and sided with the British and sold out other Chinese. Did those Chinese people become yellow? Like, did they give up their nationality? Like, cause when they ask those questions, like, oh, Moors are selling paperwork. So what are you, black? Like, why are you saying that? So because that Moor did that, that means you're black now? African American, Negro, colored? Like, why do they? What are you saying that for? Like, cause we know more. Like, even unconscious people who call themselves Negro, black, and colored, that's just a lie. They're Moors.
Yep.
And they do wrong things. They're still Moors. They just do wrong things. So when they ask those questions to try to make it seem like, well, Moors do this, so we're still black. Like, you sound stupid. Stop. You sound crazy asking questions like that or saying statements like that to try to prove what? What are you saying? Oh, Moors sold paperwork, which I'm telling you, no Moors on this platform did. But even if they did, does that mean you're black now? African American? Like, when you say that, you should say, I ran into some Moors who were doing the wrong thing by selling paperwork. There you go. Now we would say, well, who was those Moors? You know, but when you're just saying it, like, you're not a Moor because Moors be selling paperwork. That's colored. That's fraud. That doesn't make any sense what you just said. And I get that a lot. Anybody, they would say anything to try to prove that we're not Moors. So my thing is, okay, you're saying that to diss Moors to say that we're black now, African American. Like, what are you saying that to diss Moors for? So that we're black? Like, cause that's when I always say to the Green Sheet, they're just mad because you said what you said for no reason. Because at the end of the day, when I ask you what's our nationality, you still say ridiculous things. That's what really bothers me when they start just blurting out stuff because Moors are killing their whole platform. They just start blurting out.
Okay,
ridiculous things.
let me show you how real time it is right now. Because as you're talking, right, I'm messaging in the chat, right? Because somebody in the chat is talking about court in Scarborough, court in Durham, stealing money, brainwashing females and children, taking the children that aren't your own, crossing lines. I'm talking about you same cats in Toronto. Shall I send you pictures to prove I know exactly who I'm talking about? Come to court with your people. Try and support them instead of the nonsense that we're talking right. Just as you're talking, I'm responding to exactly what you're talking about in the chat right now. So we post the link in there. So we post the link. If you're talking crazy, there's the link. Push the link and say your piece, because we don't have anything to hide around here. And I really want to know who you're talking about, because I don't know anybody who's stealing children. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a Moor in Toronto. I'm a Moor that belongs to the temple, and I don't know any Moors who do that. So if you say you got evidence and whatever like that, all we need is a name. Put the name in the chat. Even if you're too bitch to push the link and come on here and say whatever you're gonna say, don't talk then. If you're gonna talk about people are a fraud and all that stuff, whatever, right?
Right.
If you're gonna talk about people are a fraud and whatever, then push the link. Why am I coming to court in Oshawa? Push the link, or put the name in the chat of who you're taking to court, or who's going to court, or the Moor that robbed you, or whatever. All we're saying, Ebondel, since you're in the chat and you're listening to this live right now, if you got played by Moors, put the name in the chat. If you're already taking them to court, then it shouldn't be no issue. It should be public record. Give us the case number then. Give us the case number of you going to court so we could look it up ourselves right now live. Give us the case number. Give us the case number. Put something in the chat.
Put your name and nationality on the record.
Yeah, and put your name on the record too, whoever you are, because Ebondel, we don't know what that is. That ain't nothing to me.
And
That's
nationality.
Nothing. You're just in our chat. We don't even know you. You're in here talking crazy. But Moors did this and Moors did that, and Moors are stealing money and all that stuff, and you're not gonna say who that is, then you're condoning that BS that happened to you, and good for you if that happened to you. Good for you. What do you mean, ask my man? Okay, who's my man in Durham region? So I still need a name. What do you mean? Who am I asking? You're not telling me who to ask. So who am I asking? If you're too scared, send an email, canaanlandguide@gmail.com. Send the email right now so we can go on the email live, because we're live right now. So if it's really that serious, then who are these individuals that robbed you or did whatever they did to you? Who are they? If you don't have any names, you're telling me ask my mans who, whatever. Who are you talking about? I know lots of Moors in Durham region. Who are you talking about? I need a name to go ask. If you don't have the name, shut the hell up. If you don't have a name, just shut the hell up. Go to your court, do your thing, and whatever. No, we don't remove people and stuff like that. We let them talk. We let them play themselves. We don't block people and all that BS. There's no need for that. Nothing. There's the link again, one more time. All you have to do is push it, put your name in, and then you could say whatever you want. If you're not gonna talk, then just shut the hell up. Because all you agents that come in our stuff trying to do whatever, all you agents that wanna, all of a sudden they're not Moors and they're going at Moors and all that stuff. We aren't the ones. We aren't those temple Moors that you guys are used to. We aren't those Moors. Like, we're not the Moors. We turn the other cheek and all that stuff. You play games, you make this thing some type of game, when this is about our people's nationality and birthrights and them surviving out here. We know that you people are sent just to do exactly what you're doing. And then you think you're doing something because, as if we're off the class topic. The class topic is dirty Moors, and we're talking the one right now. Nothing to say. Wouldn't even push the link, but you're talking crazy. And again, what you're talking about is the same splintering stuff of the Moor Science Temple. How? How? Because whoever he dealt with is obviously claiming to be Moors, and that individual has some generalized perspective about Moors. Just like the highwayman says, oh, anybody in a hood we're looking for because they killed somebody. And then they're going to stop everybody in a hood? All right. He thinks everybody who says Moors are good or pure or righteous or whatever. And then he engaged some Moors. They played him, and now he's mad at the people who didn't even play him because he generally thinks that all Moors are the same. All Moors aren't the same. And why aren't all Moors the same? Because of the same stuff why this guy asked the question. Confusion has been caused by your own. One sec more. Hold on, one sec. Okay, so
I'm sorry about that.
no worries more. You straight. Okay, Ibandel, like we're saying, right? We're not denying that Moors are violating people. We're not denying that Moors are stealing finance from single mothers. We're not denying that Moors are causing imbalance in families by not teaching the right information, and we're not denying all that. We're not denying that. But if you say these people claim to be down with me, so if they aren't down with me, I should clean house. How am I cleaning house without knowing who I'm supposed to clean out the house? You're still not making sense. You're still playing games. Because it's real simple as put the name in the chat. It's that simple. I don't know who you are. E. Bondell, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you look like or whatever like that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, all right. Because children are involved, you won't name names? What are you talking about? Right? What are you talking about? That's like somebody.
I already know. Yep. I already know, because that's crazy. What do you mean children are involved and you're not going to tell who the guy is? You're supposed to tell. You got to save the children. That doesn't make any sense.
No sense. You're supposed to save the women. So a guy is going around raping children. You know who the guy is. You know him by name, address, and all that. And then somebody says, who's the guy that's raping the children around here? Well, it's your boy, so you should know who he is. It's a male and female member. You're not telling me shit. It's a male and female. Ooh. It's a male and female. A male and female rape some people. Oh, all right. All right. Whatever violation they did. Who? Name the people, because you're too bitch to push the link, so we know you're not going to push the link. So since you're not going to push the link, and we don't know who you are, you don't have a picture on your freaking thing, it's not like we know who you are. Look at the music video. What music video? I have 50 music videos. Look in the music video. Which music video? Which music video? Who is it then? Because now you're saying that they're in a video. So that narrows it down to about 50 people. So which one of these 50 people in the music, 50 music videos are you talking about that violated somebody? Nothing? Just gonna pretend like you don't know who it is? If you know who it is, then put the name in the chat. Ain't no big deal. You put them on the phone right now and call them and ask them if it's going to be like that. Who's the people? We'll call them right now. Because if I know them like that, I have their number and all that stuff. So, you know, if they're in the music video, trust me, I have their number. So, who is it? Nothing? Of course, nothing. And this is what we're talking about, why people are confused. This is why people are confused. Right? Because nobody wants to talk about the sellout. Everybody's cool with the traders, right? You let me know, God forbid, you let me know your name that you did something to my family or something like that, and I know who you are. Do you think I'm not snitching? You think I'm not going to tell them where you're hiding out and all that stuff? What you talking about? That's why there's highwaymen. Let me know the name. I will snitch on you if I know your name and you did something to my family or whatever. I'm not gonna do you nothing. I'm not doing no jail time for you niggas. I'm gonna call your property owners. I'm gonna call your overseers and let them deal with you. You let me know. Tripping, telling me BS, and then we give you the link, and then you're not pushing the link. Y'all playing games. Playing games. So that was, you know, an hour to clear up the confusion about Moorish Science Temple of America, the splintering of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and Moors. All that. And all the little extra stuff you got was just extra. So that was, so now again, we went through all that, and it's been 28 seconds of the video. 28 seconds. We didn't watch anything yet. This is how confused the people are. Hour and a half to talk about 28 seconds.
When I first heard Moor, it was the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And that's all I recognized was, you know, because this was the leader. Then you had different
getting some background
groups,
more.
different organization. I'm a Moor, but I don't wear fez. I'm a Moor, but I don't say Islam. I'm a Moor, but I'm not a temple Moor. So now I was confused, like, so what are you then? So what is all of this that's going on? What is this confusion?
So, Dougie Diamonds, from this day forward, people want to know where the Moor is. You know where to find your brother Taharka. You know where to find your brother Taharka, and I'm going to tell you exactly who is and who not, and how it come to be so many different factions. Well, first of all, let's start back in 1929. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, it was Moors that was with.
Night of his demise, the family gathered to
Was with the Prophet Noble Drew Ali that was attempting to start their own Moorish Science Temple of America right alongside of Prophet Noble Drew Ali to keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? And when they were unable to do that, they plotted to, many people may have seen the videos on YouTube where they got the videos talking about Prophet Noble Drew Ali, a pedophile. They accused him of raping of a child to try to get him locked up. They actually even got him locked up for conspiracy to commit murder to get him out the way. I mean, there was so much corruption going on because Prophet Noble Drew Ali had organized 30,000 of us, and we were working together, and we were all becoming wealthy. So they thought that Prophet Noble Drew Ali was the wealthy one, so they wanted the position. They wanted to move him out of the way. You know how I go. They wanted to move him out of the way. So long story short, that type of thing still plagues us till this day in the name of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So
why does it plague you today still? Why? Because all these individuals after Noble Drew Ali who were part of the Moorish Science Temple of America and were jealous of the fame and nobility, they never got dealt with by the original temple, because even people in the original temple sold out. They're not going to tell you about that part. They're not going to tell you about the individuals who were around, like you were asking about, Mili El, who was the one that Noble Drew Ali said is the successor, and everything's supposed to go through him. And he wasn't taking it from a position of, now I'm the successor, so you have to. No, he was pointing everybody back to what Noble Drew Ali gave him and told him. So even after Noble Drew Ali transitioned, Mili El's position was to keep everything exactly how it was when the Prophet was around. That didn't happen because they even got him out the way to have their agents in there today trying to convince you that what you see them doing is Moorish Science Temple of America. And that's it, and nothing else. So remember that all of these people after Noble Drew Ali, other than Mili El, who had a position, and CM Bay, who created a position, everybody else pretty much sold out. That's why Noble Drew Ali said, I'm going to have fingers left over with the amount of people who's going to be saved, because everybody sold out. So don't get into this thing about there's you know a legitimate body like that as far as Moorish Science Temple is concerned. Remember, we're not talking about Moors generally. We're talking specifically about Moorish Science Temple, nothing else right now. No other anything else matters. Only Moorish Science Temple of America matters right now. So nobody else should even be brought up. Only Moorish Science Temple should be brought up. So when the Moor came on the scene and said he's Noble Drew Ali reincarnated, and then everybody chased after him, all those people are traitors. And the Moor that said, we're Allah's Temple of Islam, but we're just going to take down the sign and put up a new sign and take the fezzes off and ban the nationality cards and all that stuff, all those people are sellouts. And all the people who Garvey told with the personal letter to all the heads of the UNIA, letting them know that without a nationality, the Negro's not going to be happy. And still today, these people don't have a nationality. All those people sold out. And then the people who are claiming Hebrew, that they're going to line up the street for miles going around the corner and all that stuff, and all they're doing is yelling some Bible verses. But the foundation of Hebrews in America is the Moorish Zionist temple of the Moorish Jews, and they're not saying that they're Moors. All those people sold out. And then everybody who's saying that they're Kemetic or whatever, and they go back to ancient Egypt and, you know what I mean, the pyramids and Nut and Geb and Tanakh and all, talking all this stuff. The ancient Egyptians made Moors the custodians of the ancient Kemetic mysteries. So all of them who aren't saying that they're Moors, all those people sold out. All the carry guns and be the military people, that they don't want to be Moors. But then when you go check the quote-unquote Pan-African movement, Carlos Cooks, who was Garveyite, had these Moors and black fezzes for the African Legion, which would have been the African military for the Pan-African whatever, and they had black fezzes on. But then these people today are playing around like they're not Moors and they're Garveyite though. All those people sold out. Because all those people were supposed to be still Moor Science Temple today. Telling people the truth about the nationality and the birthrights. Telling people the truth about the nationality and the birthrights. Islam, Moor, you have anything to add?
Islam Grand Sheikh, you perfectly just laid it all out just now. If we can get past the first 2 minutes of the video,
yeah,
that'll be good. That'll be good. You're killing them right now.
Now, in today's era, back during the time of the Prophet, there was about 4 different factions after the passing of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. These 4 different factions minimized down to 2, which was the Kirkman Bey and the Emeliel faction. The Emeliel faction was the one that Prophet Noble Drew Ali appointed. He appointed Emeliel. This is the brother that you see over here. He appointed Emeliel to be the head of the Moorish Science Temple of America, not even in his transition, but while he was alive, he ran the Moorish Science Temple of America while the Prophet Noble Drew Ali toured all the temples. Okay. With that being said, in today's time, it was up into the 80s, the 2 had dwindled down to 1, and it'd be called the Kirkman Bey faction. And the Kirkman Bey faction was one of the ones that was going against and trying to disqualify Emeliel. Well,
no, keep in mind that while Emeliel was in office, he was writing letters to Kirkman Bey and all those people, letting them know that they're a fraud. How are they still around today? If there's letters from the successor of Noble Drew Ali telling all the Moors, hey, you see those guys over there call themselves this and that? They're not really with the Prophet. Now, you know, we can't take your nationality away. So we hope that you would stop doing your BS and just come back home. But when you come back home, you're not going to have any position of power or whatever. You're just going to be a regular member because we know that you people are traitors. Anybody? Nobody? Yeah, because your own. They shut Emeliel up quick fast. Why? Because he didn't even have support from the people who claimed to be down with Noble Drew Ali. That made him a successor. You know what happens in other countries when people are traitors? They don't get to parade around still. People disappear. Traitors disappear. But not with our people. With our people, traitors will be coming up 2020. Lost 50 pounds. Still got you singing, clapping for BS.
Emeliel ultimately passed on, the Kirkman Bey faction began to.
That's my name, Matthew Stillman, right there. So I don't know if you can see it.
Begin to gain a little steam because now he's out of the way. They begin to gain a little steam, and so up into the 60s and the 70s.
Not little steam. After they got Emeliel out the way, the traitors took over the Moorish movement. And now all hell broke loose because there's no prophet. And Noble Drew Ali told the Moors that if I'm not up front, you're not going to make it through this. Everybody wanted his position. And when they got it, they didn't do what Noble Drew Ali did. They didn't do what Noble Drew Ali said. They did their own thing. And there's confusion today because nobody dealt with the traitors. Now the traitors are around here running the show. And you want to know how come we're confused about the Moorish movement and we how come we can't, and why can't I get a charter and all this stuff? They sold you out. They sold out your birthright. And now they have you standing on the corner naked. Right? Treason. Treason. Because they know who Noble Drew Ali is. They knew what was up. They knew what was up. They decided to side with the colonists. They decided to be Moriscos. Cause confusion, which is the whole point. Once our people are confused by not knowing the truth about their nationality and birthrights, because every Moor knows, as soon as you learn the truth about your nationality and birthrights, you're not confused anymore. Every Moor, whether they're dirty, passive, active, righteous, devilish, whatever, every Moor who knows that they have a nationality and birthrights, they're not confused about what's going on. Right? Like again, if you use that as an example, right? You have Moors near Philadelphia who you have seen gone to City Hall, got proclamation, got flag raising, got a whatever, right? All these things, right? Their interaction with the corpse is not negative. Them and the corpse are cool. Now the problem with it is that those things that they're getting from the colonists, whether it's a proclamation, whatever, all those things are about national affairs. They're not about temple stuff. When they got a proclamation, the proclamation is about this Moorish Science Temple, whatever. It's talking about Moorish Americans as a whole. This is what the proclamation says. So if they are going to get the letter sent to them, they're Moorish Science Temple, so they get the letter. Well, we got this letter from the city of Philadelphia. Right. Dear Moorish Science Temple of America, we appreciate everything that you've done, and we want to honor the Moorish Americans with a proclamation. We invite you to come down to City Hall on the 5th of whatever, so we can give you the proclamation and, you know, make this a historic event. Oh, wow, okay, that's cool. And then they go, they have their temple meeting. Islam Moors, we got the letter. We're going to be going down to whatever like that. So we'll see you down at the thing. Islam Moors, and then they go down to the thing. What's the problem there? What's the problem? Anybody? Just throw it in the chat. What's the problem? Or is there a problem? Maybe there's not a problem. Maybe that's how it's supposed to go. They got a letter from the city hall. They go down to City Hall, you know what I mean, and they get the proclamation. What's the problem? The problem is that this is not a club. The problem is that this is not about temples. This is nationhood. The problem is that these individuals didn't tell anybody about it. Well, there's one brother is Islam. They told no one about it. They told no one. They just kept it to their little temple body. When this is a thing of national affairs, when they were doing Moroccan flag raising on behalf of the Moors, the whole country who were Moors should have been there.
Yep.
And they would have been if they told people. They didn't even tell Moors in their own jurisdiction, who they know are Moors but not part of their temple. They didn't even tell them. Those Moors found out around the way. The around the way girl told them, hey, you know the Moors are doing something at City Hall right now? What are you talking about? Yeah, they're doing some flag raising. News is there and everything right now. How come you're not there? Aren't you a Moor? You don't think around the way girl's going to be confused and say, what the hell is this Moor stuff? Like, why does this guy who's a Moor that I know not know about the Moorish proclamation happening at City Hall right now where I just came from? Because I was just passing through City Hall and I just saw Moors there. And then when I was looking around, I didn't see the guy who I knew that's a Moor. And then they're just looking at it like, oh, Moors are confusing. No, those Moors are traitors. Those Moors who didn't let the nation know that, hey, we're having a Moroccan flag raising on this day at this time. Please be in attendance. Whether you say you're Moor Science Temple, whether you say you're dirty, whether you say you're active, whether you say you're Temple Moor, whether you say you're Street Moor, whether you say whatever, we just wanted to let you know that we're having a Moroccan flag raising in Philadelphia from the city of Philadelphia. Told no one. And again, they didn't even tell Moors in their own jurisdiction. Right? And who these Moors that, you know, who these Moors keep giving honors to? Oh, those ones. Those ones. The ones who, when you go to City Hall, not City Hall, when you go to the county recorder's office in Philadelphia, they will tell you, if you're not part of that temple, we're not filing your stuff here. You told me that they didn't sell out? There's offices in Philadelphia that if you go there as a Moor, they're expecting you to be part of that temple. And if you're not, they're dealing with you funny. How? How is that able to happen? How is that able to happen? How could they do that? Your own. Wearing turbans and fezzes, putting you right back into slavery. How? By getting you to detach from are you a Moor? Because you seen some confusion with Moor Science Temple. So you think, well, I don't want anything to do with that. Those Moors are confusing in Moor Science Temple. I'm not a Moor because Moors are confusing in Moor Science Temple. They don't even know what they're doing. Wrong perspective. Moor Science Temple doesn't make you a Moor. Moors are birthright. The Moors are birthright. Islam Moor, you have anything to add?
Islam. Just while you was telling the story, once again, you know, the different factors that had taken over when Noble Drew Ali started their own thing, like the Elijah with the 30,000 members, then you got the Kirkman Bays, then you got Emilio, and then you got there was another one, wasn't there? It was 3 of them.
Emilio Kirkman Bay, Fard, and Givens Up.
Givens Up. Now, what it looked like, they just took, because you had mentioned how they just buried the information, like not telling us the national side of our bloodline, our birthright. And all of them just took different sections of what Noble Drew Ali taught and just started their own different things. But nobody wanted to keep the same guidelines of what Noble Drew Ali taught. But I just thought it was interesting.
And Lomax Bay.
To see how
Lomax Bay is another one. Lomax Bay is another one. That's another name. When you look up Lomax Bay, you'll find out that he changed his whole. He didn't even say that he's Bay anymore.
Wow.
Lomax Bay adopted some Muslim name and all that stuff, and started some Muslim temple or whatever. But they wear feathers and all that stuff in there though. But they're not doing nationality and birthrights.
Yeah. Another one. To prove it again. All of them had the same agenda, which was to take the birthright side away.
Yeah.
But try to keep the principles going. Try to turn it into a modern day religious organization. Because they're not even teaching more science as Dr. Aline teaches with the breaths and the 7 chakras. They're not even teaching it like that.
That level science, they're not even going there.
No, not at all. They're just sticking with the Circle 7, and that's it. They're not even dealing with more science, period. But that's another thing, that they pick and choose what aspects of what the prophet taught that they want to go on and keep talking about. And that's why they like dissing Moors who are standing on their square and trying to uplift fallen humanity. Then they get mad when those Moors who are talking about civics, upholding the Constitution and stuff like that, they get mad at Moors like that. That's why they hate Taj.
Yep.
That's why they hate Army Bay Publications. That's why they hate, Canaanland Moors and whatnot.
That's why they hate Rise of the Moors. That's why they hate
Rise of the Moors. Oh yeah.
Don't forget
anything
them.
That's doing civics, they upset.
Mad. Big mad. Right? And then when you call them out for being mad, now everybody's talking about, why is there division amongst the Moors? There shouldn't be division. You're brothers and all this. No, they're traitors. What do you mean brothers? These are traitors. And don't think they don't know that they're traitors. They know that they're traitors. The problem is that the people don't know. The problem is that the people think being a Moor has to do with some Moor Science Temple of America. Being a Moor has nothing to do with Moor Science Temple of America like that. Other than Noble Drew Ali told you that you're not Negro, black, colored, you're Moors. Other than that, Moors been around. It's not some new stuff just came yesterday with Noble Drew Ali in the 1900s. Honors to that man for what he did, sacrifice that he made for us to be where we're at, to at least know that we're Moors. Forget having a temple and having a Moorish hospital and a Moorish army. Forget all that shit at this point. At least I know I'm a Moor. At least.
They were the only Moorish Science Temple of America out in the public, kind of. But they really wasn't out in the public because you would never see Moors in the civil rights movement. You don't see no Fezes out there. You ain't gonna see no Moors with Malcolm X. You ain't see none out there. And you ain't seen none of the Moors in none of the uprisings of Memorial. When you look back, you don't see Moors there. And so
yeah, but what? But why? Why? Because
Elijah banned the fez.
Because the traders either banned fezzes, the traders in their organizations. Now remember, everybody after 1930 was ex-Moorish Science Temple.
Yep.
So because they were ex-Moorish Science Temple, they were supposed to carry on this stuff of, you know, wearing fezzes and all that. But no, they banned those things. So that's why you didn't see fezzes around like that with all the other stuff that was going on. But guarantee, Black Panthers stood on the Constitution, right? Where do you think they got that from? They got that from themselves? No. Trust me, there had to be some Moors around that were teaching these people because all the black people thought that the Constitution belonged to the white man. Why would Assata Shakur go to court with no lawyer? You find me some black guy, conscious black guy that went to court without a lawyer. Even Malachi York had a lawyer. And he's a heavy Moor, and he had a lawyer.
And this is just the Kirkman Bay faction went underground, and nobody heard of the Moors. So bring us up to speed. Step-grandson was discovered in the 80s. And by the way, one of my teachers introduced me to him. And after talking to him and sitting in his living room and going through dusty boxes and looking at, I'm like, hold up, ain't nobody got this thing right. Good goodness gracious. I say that all the time. Good goodness gracious. Nobody had it right. And so now today, to answer your question,
he got
you
it right.
have the talk.
Yeah, so he got it right.
So once he opened up the boxes, he figured out this guy right here, who the Grand Sheik been going in on this whole time. He figured it out once he opened up the boxes. That the whole thing, nobody got this right. It took him to come recently to say, the one who took off his turban and fez to try to look nigger and fit in, for him to open up the boxes and say, they ain't got this figured out. This the same guy who we showed videos of, who said he didn't know about law. He didn't know about the Constitution and stuff like that. He blatantly said it. He didn't know it. He was the one that didn't agree that this was Morocco, and then once his friend said this is Morocco, he was like, oh. Now he's like, oh.
Oh,
like,
say that again. Say that again.
He's the one that said that this wasn't Morocco. But once his friend
Ishmael Bey,
Morocco.
his friend Ishmael Bey, when his friend Ishmael Bey told him this is Morocco, well, now it's Morocco all of a sudden.
Now it's Morocco.
Flip floppers. These are the dead fish people. These are the flip flopper Moors.
Yep. This the guy who opened up the boxes and said, "Oh, nobody got this figured out." The same guy, he figured it out. This the guy right here, him.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Now he's gonna say. Now he figured it out. Now to say this. Go ahead. If you want to keep letting it play.
Oh yeah.
Taj Tariq ain't never been in the Moorish Science Temple of America. The one that he claims that he was in was not even an original descendant of the Moorish Science Temple of America. In other words, there was a creation of somebody's imagination. I'm going to keep it a buck. That's why Taj Tariq does not sound nothing like the Prophet Noble Drew Ali when you hear him talk. He talk way out there, and you be like, man. Like this is a family demonstration. I'm gonna teach my child not to travel and license. Are you kidding me?
Go ahead, Moore.
I didn't. I'm sorry, Green Sheet.
Oh, you did hear
the thing? That's the way Brother Yusuf.
No, he mentioned the Taj Tariq. not being in the temple and all
right
this.
there.
Yeah.
Right there. He starts dissing Taj. And you know, once they start dissing Taj, like the Grand Sheik says, red flag. Because you know they're going against the civics. Because that's what Taj brought.
It's not about Taj. It's about what is taught. And what is taught, the foundational teachings of Taj Tariq Bey was based in civics and law. Right?
Yeah.
Right? There was some spirituality in there. There was some history in there. You know, there was some Moor Science Temple and Noble Juali in there. But really what it was about was getting yourself some black law dictionaries and start looking up these law terms that you thought you knew the meaning of.
Yeah.
Because all these people been sold out, and they even tell you to go buy law dictionaries. They're telling you buy Quran. They're telling you buy 101. And you don't need anything else because Noble Juali brought anything, which is BS. Because Noble Juali was an adept student. So if he's an adept student, which means he's obviously learning more than what he was taught, everybody should be following suit. Which again goes back to the theme of Noble Juali told more study, study, study.
Yeah. Did he say the part that Taj wasn't part of the temple?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, with him throwing side shots at Taj, because that was nothing but a side diss.
Yeah, that was just a diss.
Because
yeah.
that has nothing with Taj. Taj being part of the Moor Science Temple or not being part of the Moor Science Temple has nothing to do with nationality.
Mm-hmm.
Has nothing to do with nationality. So him dissing Taj has nothing, like, what are you doing? Like, this shows, like, you just up here to cause issues. Because Taj, that has nothing to do with nationality. And you still haven't, not one time yet, talked about nationality. You still talking about clubism, organizations. He's not signed up with this club, so he's not really
legit.
Part of this.
Yeah.
Like you still have not talked about consanguinity, bloodline, and how that having that affects us with having, you know, us being part and parcel of this government. You know what I mean? Like that, you're just leaving that out. He has nothing, and because if he mentions it, he has to say the part and partial. You know, and then we got another issue. You know, because his whole thing is BS. His whole thing is BS. Because it just really, I'm like, why do you have to mention Taj being part of a temple that was, and then he just said, oh, that's just some temple that they just made up, and I'm like, okay.
Now, even if we go there, right? Because remember, they said earlier that the Moor Science Temple went underground. So no wonder somebody had to come up and make up some shit. Because they buried the temple. They buried what Noble Juali brought, and they took it out of circulation. And then people start finding out about this, and we need to get this out. This is news. This is breaking news. What do you mean, Noble Juali? Who's that? What, Moor Science Temple? What are you talking about? Moroccan flag in America? What are you talking about? Fezzes, turbans? Not dressing like a nigger? Dressing like royalty in your silks and your... What? That's why these people had to make up some temple that Taj was part of. Because Moor Science Temple became almost dissolved. It was almost off the face of the earth.
Right.
It was almost off the face of the earth.
Making his videos,
nobody would have known about Moor Science Temple.
Nobody.
Noble Juali, none of that.
Hopkins Bay, all of them. Taharka, all of them should be thanking Taj for him bringing more science to the forefront like that, because
giving attention to it.
Nobody will click on anything that says Moors.
Right.
Because everybody knew when you started, you just ran into Todd's videos. Or Hakeem Bey or something like that. Like, that's who you ran into.
Yeah. You didn't run into more Science Temple people. No,
not at all. That's new. That's right now.
Right.
That's probably that's in like the last 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Todd's, they put in VHS videotapes up on YouTube of Todd teaching.
Yep.
VHS. 92, 93.
Because the stuff was buried. The stuff was buried.
Freemanell got videos up from 94.
Yep. What temple was he part of?
He was dissing the temple back then.
Why?
The brothers in the temple mad at him. I said, yeah, I know.
Yep.
I know.
Why would brothers in the temple be mad at C. Freemanell? Why would they be mad at what he's teaching? Like, he's teaching more science. Why?
Yep.
Like, why are you mad? What's the purpose of being mad at C. Freemanell? And then when you look at all the information that he put out, and then you look at the information put out by the Moor Science Temple, you'll see who's been putting out information longer. When you put Taj next to Moor Science Temple, you see who's been putting out stuff longer. When you put a seer next to Moor Science Temple, you see who's been putting the stuff out longer. When you put RV Bay MHHS against Moor Science Temple, you see who's been teaching stuff longer. When you put Alim Bay next to Moor Science Temple, you see who's been putting stuff longer. There's a sellout in this movement. And the sellout is real. And the duty, again, of the infiltrators is to cause confusion. The only way that you are not going to be confused is when you study, then study yourself. That's the only way you're not going to be confused. Everything else is confusion. Everything else is confusion. Everything else is confusion. And one thing too, how you know things are a fraud. The reason why Moor Science Temple has a seal, the reason why Moor Science Temple, Moorish Divine National Movement has a seal is so that once you put the seal on, nobody could put anything after that. That's why all seals go on the bottom right. All seals go on the bottom right. The only thing that should be following that would be a signature of somebody else. When you have dual seals, they don't go together. Dual seals don't go together. People have taken this and caused confusion up and down, around and through, which is why you're going through what you're going through today.
Don't play with me. But anyway, he was never in an official extension of a temple that was related to the teachers of the Prophet Noble Drali. Never. Okay, so you got the Taj Tariq. Now, he's the father of the sovereign citizen Moor, as they like to call him. These are the brothers that like to talk about the right to travel. America is Morocco. This is my land, Al Morocco. And to a degree, they're right. But
well.
Okay.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I just don't get how you're gonna diss us and call us what the colonizer has coined us, the sovereign citizens, and then say that this is Morocco, because they say that this is Morocco. They don't, you know, all the other stuff with the licenses, etc. And then say to a degree they're right. Like, which one is it? Are they sovereign citizens in all of this crap, or are they just right? Like, which one is it? Like, that is crazy how, like, get him off of there. Get him off of there. He shouldn't be able to speak on behalf of Moors.
Ever.
Like, this is
Ever.
They shouldn't even, people just need to, and that's how you know, like, YouTube is just, that's agent. Because it's like, how haven't, you get kicked off, I seen you get kicked off of your own channel, and Moors is still hosting your video, but you got kicked off. Like, YouTube always messing with your channel. But this guy just be able to go up there all the time.
Talk crazy.
And say the same old BS.
Yep. The same old lies.
Same old BS. Done upgraded the studio look, all of that stuff, man. And I'm like, where's all this stuff coming from? Where's all this stuff coming from? Where? It's too much. It's starting to just really look agently. Like, now you just look blatantly agent. Like,
straight.
It's not even like hidden anymore. I'm like, okay, he's just really working for the other side. Like, it's not, oh, he's just badly misinformed. No, it's not even that. He knows now. He knows that he's siding with the other side.
Yeah, he knows.
He knows. He has gotten to sit down. Somebody has given him to sit down.
Yep. His duty, go out there, cause confusion. That's the purpose. Cause confusion.
Gonna sit there and, to a degree, they're right. And then he's gonna say because we're conquered. And I'm like, okay, you sound stupid. Like,
but
that's
the thing.
Be slaves?
It's all about cause confusion. The whole purpose is to cause confusion.
Yep.
The duty is to cause confusion.
Look at this, though. We still have not talked about nationality yet. He hasn't looked up nation, looked up nationality, talk about improper persona versus civilly dead, none of that. Which is what should be talked about. Not side dissing 70 plus year old man. You side dissing a 70-year-old, an elder? Got time for that, though.
You side dissing an elder. He's the father of sovereign citizen Moors. The hell are you talking about? Noble Drew Ali was a sovereign. That's why he was able to give you a charter.
Yeah, this the same guy who blamed the 72-year-old elder for Korean Games.
Yep.
But never said a word about none of these colonizers for killing their own on TV, point blank. Never said a word about these colonizers doing that. Never.
Straight.
Never said a word about these Europeans. Never. I've never heard him talk about Moors holding Europeans in slavery. Never showing none of that history. None of that. Just want to show how Moors who talk about civics are
sovereign citizens.
Sovereign citizens. The colonists have coined us. So
Colonists.
you know he's riding with the other side. Because
Explain for
what the
people.
colonizers calling us.
For people who don't know, just explain what you mean by the foreigners called us sovereign citizens.
The sovereign citizen term or phrase has came from Southern Poverty
Law Center, yeah.
Southern Poverty Law Center, which is a group of Europeans who established that whole thing. And then when you do a whole research background thing on them, everybody because they go against everybody who's trying to do the right thing, who was trying to expose what these, evil so-called government people are doing. Yeah. They make articles against those people. So we already know who's funding these same, Southern Poverty Law Center organizations. So we know that Southern Poverty Law Center coined the term sovereign citizens to Moors. And now he's using that term, which Southern Poverty Law Center has coined us. He's using that now, calling us that. So he's using what the colonizer has coined us. He's using that against us as well. That shows and proves that he was siding with the colonizer.
And this is the guy that you're using as a reference point for what a Moor is and who the Moors are. It's absolutely criminal.
You're gonna say that Moors are going about it the wrong way. Who said that? He's the guy who gets to make that decision. He said, because he said that. He said that. That's not a fact. He said that. That Moors are all going about it the wrong way. Well, tell Moors that who are exercising the right to travel, who are getting cases dismissed if anything happens to them. If they get detained and they got to go into these so-called courtrooms. Tell that to them. Tell that to people who are exercising their Aboriginal indigenous rights and aren't paying these so-called taxes. Tell that to them. This guy believes you're supposed to be paying taxes to these foreigners.
Exactly.
This guy right here that they got on here. Who's supposed to, and I'm pretty sure they have him up here because of what this so-called Black Lives Matter thing is going on right now. That's why they have a Moor on here.
Yeah.
To try to help out what's going on.
Yeah. Try to bring some clarity to the situation. Because everybody knows that nationality is the order of the day. Don't think people don't know. Everyone knows nationality is the order of the day.
Yep.
Right? The people. We're not talking about the dummies who are out marching. We're talking about the people who have platforms, the people who got been in movies and all that stuff. We just left a message on the video with Jamie Foxx out there. Jamie Foxx out there talking about some whatever. Left the message on the channel. Don't forget, bro, you played a Moor in a movie. Don't forget, Jamie Foxx, you were in Robin Hood and you were a Moor in that movie. It's known by anybody who's seen the trailer, who read the whatever of the movie, that Jamie Foxx was the Moorish commander in that movie.
Yeah.
What do you mean we're black? What do you mean Black Lives Matter?
Yeah. That's why I'm looking at him funny when I saw that. I'm like, okay. That's why, and we can do the research too. Because that's a CIA operation where they have blatantly put entertainers as so-called
revolutionaries,
African Americans as our leaders.
Yep.
That's a blatant CIA move. Cause nobody else on the planet has entertainers as their leaders. Nobody else on the planet has that.
the matter, you're going about it all wrong. You know, to a degree, this is your land. We was here before Europeans. You know what I'm saying? And I say to a degree because we've been conquered. Let's be real. Let's I'm faking. But nevertheless, so you got the Taj Tariq and faking. But you know, to a degree, this is your land. We was here before Europeans. You know what I'm saying? And I say to a degree because we've been conquered. Let's be real. I'm faking. But nevertheless, so you got the Taj Tariq and that faction over there. I mean, it's so many splinters over there. And so
that's his whole thing, man. That's his whole life, Taj. His whole life is Taj.
His whole life.
He can't even go on to another subject without mentioning Taj.
Or again, it's the operative that even he knows that name rings bells in everybody's ears.
There you go.
Mentioning that, oh, that guy is not really the whatever.
Yep.
Because a lot of people listen to Taj Tariq Bey who aren't more Science Temple or whatever.
Right. Yep.
But there's a lot of people who listen to Doggy Diamonds who's not Negro black colored.
Right.
Which again, why we're telling you about the dress code, that there's no way you're going on the 170,000 subscriber channel with no fez or turban.
No, you can't do it now. Now that I'm glad you said it again, because now I'm looking at it way different. You can't do that. You have to show up with your headdress and fez on. You know, like you have to. You have to. You have to. You have to. You can't show up looking nigger. Period. Period. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. But it's only because, you know, I don't expect nothing. I don't expect any more from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Pun intended.
Right. There you go.
Right. And again, this thing about we've been conquered. Right? We've been conquered. The only people who talk like that are cowards.
Mm-hmm.
The only people who talk like that are people who don't know law, people who don't study civics, people who don't know stare decisis and res judicata, and people who don't have law dictionaries.
Mm-hmm.
The only people who talk like that are people who don't deal with law.
Yep. He just made it seem like, yeah, we're more, but, you know, we just still do nigger stuff. That's what he just made it seem like this whole interview. Like, it's not, we don't do all of that stuff that's you know, constitutional stuff. And, no, we just do, we pay our taxes. We vote. We do all of that. We do the nigger stuff. We don't, because that's what he sounds like right now.
Yep.
That's exactly, no, we like, don't listen to them Moors, man. That nationality stuff ain't what it seemed like. Like, y'all keep doing what y'all doing, marching and picking and saying that Black Lives Matter stuff. Keep doing that.
Yeah, keep doing that. Yeah, don't stand up for civics or law or constitution. Don't do that. Just keep doing what you're doing. Look at me. I'm the perfect example. Look at me. I don't have a fez on. I'm not a Moor right now. Or am I a Moor right now? I have a fez on, so I guess I'm a Moor. I don't have a fez on, but I have a nationality, so I'm a Moor right now, even without a fez. Right? We're not saying a Moor makes you a fez makes you a Moor. Don't get it effed up. We're not saying you have to be in a fez to be a Moor. We're saying if you're going on somebody's platform who has 171,000 viewers, you probably want to dress in your habit. To do all the other BS, you're dressed in the habit. Why wouldn't you dress in the habit? Not all, because that's going to take away from how people look at it, because because they want to play club games and keep people confused.
They don't have time for that right now. They don't even have time for that. I don't want to hear that excuse anymore. These people walking around, they told these people to put masks on, and they went and go in the house, and they did it. So they could get this information. Like, it's not like crazy overwhelming. Like, I've seen y'all can do some stuff. Y'all can do some crazy stuff. Y'all walking around here going crazy over these masks, but y'all can't settle down and just learn this nationality and birthright stuff. It's not hard. It's not.
Definitely not hard.
Little Yusuf get it. He's 12. He's been got it.
12 and got it. Islam, little Yusuf.
Got it.
Islam to little Yusuf and all the other Moors out there who are little Bays and L's that know about their nationality and birthrights and know that they're not Negro, black, colored. 12. And they know about their birthrights. And we're pulling teeth with our people, trying to convince them.
We can't even get the ones who got a birthright to talk about the birthright. This Moor up here still has not talked about birthright. But in imagery, he's gonna sell his Noble Collection shirts and Noble Collection hats, though. Oh yeah.
That's not that's not birthright. That's why he's using the 171,000 to push his little clothing, whatever. That's why.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
So pushing his hats and his shirts.
Yeah.
Not about nationality and birthright.
Come in your platform, Grand Sheik, and tell you that your mans is selling packages and stuff. They won't come at these people. Won't go on their platform and cuss them out about what they doing, about selling the people out and selling whole nations, selling out the whole nation. Look what they doing.
Yeah.
Like, he's like this, like when he says Korean Games was killed because of what Taj taught, what Taharka teaches, and how he promotes how we are Moors, the way he goes about it, is the reason why Ferguson happened. Is the reason why they going around marching and picketing. Like, that's what really is the fact. Don't try to lie and try to blame Taj for what Korean Games was doing. That's a lie.
Right.
What you're doing is factual. Is still getting our people killed by not going over nationality and birthright.
Yep.
That's what's really going on.
Trying to throw the elder under the bus.
Still getting our people killed.
Yep. Yep.
That's what should be being said. Let's put the limelight back where it should be at. Don't try to put it on the master teacher.
Exactly.
Put it on who's really doing this. It's you. You still getting our people killed by we done been on here forever, and I still haven't heard you talk about consanguinity yet. Nothing.
Yep.
International law. Nothing that's supposed to help these people from getting killed and murdered in the streets. You haven't said anything. You want these people to do what? Buy your T-shirts? Come sing hymns to Noble Drew Ali? What do you want? What is your remedy to help these people?
Yep.
Because that's why you're on this platform.
Exactly.
Your remedy is to this Taj? This to keep talking about Taj? That's your remedy.
And don't look at it like, his remedy is Taj, and your remedy, you're talking against Taharka, and that. No, it's not the same. He's talking about Taj for no reason. He's just talking about him just because. He's not talking about him because Taj did something dirty or whatever. We're talking about him because these people are dirty.
Right.
We're talking about them.
Teachings.
Yeah.
Civic side. Yeah, right.
So don't get it messed up. You see us talking about people and then you say, well, you guys talk against people. No, it's not the same. The hell out of here. It's not the same.
Going against the people who are speaking the truth, the divine principles. Like, that's why we're really sticking up for people who are, you know, divine. That's why I'm going to stick up for people like that all day.
Exactly.
If you're standing on the 5 principles, I'm backing you. Because if I don't do that, it's just like with these highwaymen out here, or whatever. I remember Brother Jamal was going over it with you going in there standing on the Constitution. Not only is it for you, it's for everybody else.
Right.
You know, not only is what the Grand Sheik does on his platform just to correct this guy and for him to try to see this video for them to get corrected. No, it's for everybody else who may be confused about what's going on.
Because we know they're confused. We know they're confused. Without a shadow of a doubt, they're confused.
Could you imagine, Grand Sheik, if it wasn't for Army Day Publications and Canaanland Moors, Rise of the Moors? Like, could you imagine if these was the people that was this? Like, that'd be crazy. That'd be, wow. It'd be worse than Black Lives Matter. Worse.
Yep. Worse.
And this guy, he fiddles my tassel. Every time I see him, you know what I'm saying? Like, my tassel just starts fiddling, and I mean, I'm like, it's not even a breeze in here. Every time I'm like, yo, what's wrong with this guy, man? Why he can't just do the right thing? Go away. Usually they just go away. This guy won't go away. I'm like, see, that's a good operative.
Yep.
You know, somebody, like, if it's your job, though, like, if it's your job and you're getting paid to do it, you just go to work every day.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. You already know, we got to save something for tomorrow. Because might not get in right now. It's 9:20. Don't forget. Don't forget, MHHS, eyes wide open.
Hopefully you can get in.
It's only one number now. It's messed up. See what they did? See how they did? They got it down to one number now. Because they're trying to stop the people from getting this info. 563-999-3403. 563-999-3403. Keep in mind, we're yielding at 613. We're yielding at 613. So we're definitely gonna try to hit up the rest of this sometime before the week's out. Because 2.5 hours for 6 minutes, we definitely have some work to do. We definitely have some work to do. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. Hopefully, Moor would Moor sent an email that was talking crazy earlier. But we'll see how it goes.
Oh yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Islam to all the Moors worldwide. Just give thanks to you, Brother Yusuf. Peace and love to all the Moors, and we'll just close you out with a little reminder. Islam Moors.
These are our Moorish master Adab teachers, and we honor them and love them. These are our Superheroes. Our Moorish master Adab teachers collectively have over 200 years of wisdom. Over 200 years. And this is why, to us, they are the goats of this generation. Oh, and we haven't forgotten about Dr. Jose Pimienta Bay, who is Vision, and Abdullah El Talib Mozi Bey, who is Cyclops, and Empress Dr. Yafa Bey, who is Spectrum. And there are others. They are also Moorbenders. They are just called in as backup whenever there is imminent crisis. So we want to give them their flowers when they can still smell them, their shisha water pipe when they can still inhale them, their herbal tea when they can still drink them, and their props and support to inspire them. Oh, and just in case you were wondering, what about other Moorish master adept teachers like C. Freeman L., Dr. Delbert Blair Bay, and Prince Uriel Bey, and other transitioned master teachers? Well, we don't consider them Moorbenders. They are even more powerful. They are the Watchers. The Watchers are cosmic beings who possess the innate ability to achieve virtually any effect desired, including augmenting personal attributes, time and space manipulation, molecular manipulation, energy projection, and a range of mental powers. They also have access to highly advanced technology. But that's a whole other video. Oh, and of course, the Prophet is the Beyonder. So here you have them, our Moorbenders.